Welcome to the Direct Lending Connection podcast, your premier source for unparalleled financial insights tailored for elite business owners, international entrepreneurs, and real estate investors. Whether you're running a thriving enterprise, scaling up your real estate portfolio, or looking for the next big opportunity, this podcast is your go-to resource for cutting-edge knowledge and strategic advice that keeps you ahead of the competition. Now, for today's episode, join us as we explore how to secure 100% financing on your next fix and flip project.
Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. You know, we love to really get into the weeds on these shows, and today we're tackling real estate investing.
Specifically those fix and flip projects.
That's right. And we're zeroing in on how you can get 100% financing even when the market is a little, well,
unpredictable, shall we say.
Exactly, unpredictable. Now, financing these projects, especially when you're aiming for that full 100%, can seem like a bit of a maze.
It definitely can be, but that's why we're here. To break down some seriously effective strategies.
Strategies that seasoned investors use all the time. But don't worry, we're going to explain them in a way that makes sense, even if you're just starting out.
Exactly. We want everyone to walk away feeling confident and ready to take action.
Perfect. Now, before we get into the really specific tactics, let's talk about hard money loans for a sec.
Ah, yes, hard money loans. These are a little different from your typical bank loan, and they're especially popular with fix and flip investors.
Well, how are they different? Like, why would someone choose a hard money loan over just going to the regular bank?
Well, for starters, hard money loans offer a level of flexibility and speed that you often just don't get with traditional loans.
I see. Yeah.
And the lenders in this space, they're more focused on the deal itself, the potential of the property, rather than getting bogged down in your credit history.
So it's more about the property as collateral rather than the borrower's, past financial whatever.
Exactly. They're looking at the potential of the property to generate a return.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's say you found a property that seems promising. You're starting to get excited about it.
Right. You're envisioning the transformation the whole 9 yards.
Yes, exactly.
I see.
What's the first step in figuring out if it's even a good candidate for that 100% financing?
Well, you got to understand this thing called the 70% ARV rule. Have you heard of this one?
I've heard of it, but maybe some of our listeners haven't. So let's break it down.
Okay, so ARV stands for after repair value. It's basically what the property will be worth once you've done all those amazing renovations.
Got it. So like the potential market value after it's all fixed up and shiny.
Exactly. And this rule suggests that your total investment, the purchase price plus all those rehab costs, should ideally be at or below 70% of that ARV.
Okay, so if a property's ARV, let's just say, is $250,000, your total investment should be around $175,000 or less.
Right. And staying below that 70% mark, it's like creating a buffer, a safety net for both you and the lender.
Makes sense. So you're saying even if unexpected costs pop up or the market takes a dip, you've got some wiggle room.
You got it. You're protecting yourself and giving the lender some peace of mind.
Smart. Now, what if you found this amazing deal that fits that 70% rule, but maybe you don't have all the cash on hand right now?
Ah, that's where things get interesting. There are a few strategies you can use to bridge that gap and still get that 100% financing.
Okay, lay it on us. What are these magic strategies?
One powerful approach is something called cross-collateralization.
Cross-collateralization. That sounds kind of intimidating.
It sounds fancy, but it's actually pretty straightforward. It basically means using something you already own, like another property or even your primary residence, as additional security for the loan.
Oh, so you're not like giving up ownership of that other asset, but you're using its value to kind of boost your borrowing power for this new project.
You nailed it. Think of it like temporarily pledging that asset to show the lender you're serious and to kind of reduce their risk.
Okay, so it's like saying, hey, lender, I believe in this deal so much, I'm willing to put up another asset as a guarantee.
Exactly. And that can go a long way in securing that 100% financing.
That makes a lot of sense. So we've got finding those deals that are below that 70% ARV and then potentially using cross-collateralization.
Right. Those are two solid strategies.
What if someone is newer to the game, like they don't have a bunch of properties to use as collateral?
Great question. There's another option that can be really helpful, and that's bringing in a partner, someone with strong credit and solid financials to be a co-signer on the loan.
Ah, so it's like having a teammate, someone to share the responsibility, and maybe even boost your credibility with the lender.
You got it. A co-signer can not only increase your chances of getting approved, but they can sometimes even help you get better loan terms.
Really? Like how?
Well, depending on the lender, a co-signer might allow you to go after deals with a slightly higher ARV, maybe even up to 75%.
Wow, that's huge. So who are these magical co-signers? Where do you find them?
Well, it could be family members, mentors, even friends who really believe in your vision and expertise.
People who trust you and are willing to kind of take that leap of faith with you.
Exactly. But of course, you got to have clear communication and a strong relationship with that person before you jump into any financial partnership.
Absolutely. It's got to be built on trust and shared goals.
100%.
So we've got 3 awesome strategies on the table so far. Finding those deals below 70% ARV, using cross-collateralization, and bringing in a cosigner.
Right. It's like having a toolbox full of options.
Exactly. And the cool thing is you don't have to pick just one. You can kind of mix and match them. Tailor your approach to each specific deal.
Absolutely. Real estate investing isn't one size fits all. It's about understanding your options and being strategic.
Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, shall we? The current real estate market, things are
A little wild out there.
a little wild to say the least. Interest rates are going up. Property values are a little wobbly in some areas, and everyone's kind of wondering what's going to happen next.
It's definitely a market that requires careful planning and a willingness to adapt.
So how do you navigate all this craziness and still find success with fix and flip projects? Like, is it even possible right now?
It's absolutely possible, but it requires staying informed and being strategic.
Okay, I'm listening.
You got to keep a close eye on what's happening in the market. Interest rates, inventory levels, buyer demand, especially in your target area.
So you got to become a bit of a market expert yourself.
Exactly. The more you understand the market, the better decisions you can make.
And you mentioned being strategic. What do you mean by that?
Well, you got to be flexible, willing to adjust your strategies as the market changes. For example, if interest rates are higher than you'd like, you might need to rethink your budget.
So maybe scale back those renovation plans a bit.
Right. Or maybe you look for properties in a slightly different price range. It's all about finding creative solutions.
Makes sense. So even though the market is a little unpredictable, there are still opportunities out there.
Absolutely. And sometimes those opportunities are even better when things are a little shaky.
How so?
Well, think about it. When property values soften, some investors get scared and pull back, but experienced fix and flip investors, they see it as a chance to get a great deal.
I see. So you're saying it's a buyer's market in a way.
Exactly. And when the market eventually recovers, those who bought low are in a prime position to make a big profit.
So it's about having that long-term vision, not getting spooked by short-term fluctuations.
You got it. It's all about playing the long game.
We've covered so much ground already. Those 100% financing strategies, hard money loans, and now the wild world of the current market.
And believe it or not, there's more to explore.
But we'll have to save that for next time. In our next installment, we're diving deeper into those hard money loans, all their quirks and benefits, and how to approach them strategically.
We'll demystify the whole thing so you can decide if they're the right fit for your fix and flip journey.
Stay tuned.
All right, so we're back and ready to dig into those hard money loans.
Yes, let's unpack this whole hard money thing.
They seem kind of mysterious. Like, are they just for super experienced investors?
Not at all. They're actually a pretty popular choice for anyone looking to do fix and flip projects, especially if you're aiming for that 100% financing.
Okay, so for those of us who maybe haven't dabbled in hard money loans yet, can you break down what they are, like what makes them different from a regular bank loan?
Sure. The main thing to remember about hard money loans is that they're asset-based.
Asset-based, meaning what?
It means the lender is mainly focused on the value of the property itself, as collateral. They're not as worried about your credit score or your debt-to-income ratio like a bank would be. So it's less about your personal finances and more about the potential of the property itself.
Exactly. They're betting on the property's ability to generate a return if things go south.
So that could be a huge advantage for someone who maybe has a great deal but doesn't have perfect credit.
Exactly. It opens up doors for investors who might not fit the traditional lending mold.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, I've heard that hard money loans can be a bit more expensive than conventional loans. Is that true?
Well, yeah, typically they do come with higher interest rates. It's kind of the trade-off for that flexibility and speed we talked about.
I see. So the lender is taking on more risk by not focusing so much on the borrower's financial history, so they charge a higher rate to compensate.
That's the gist of it.
So it's really important to weigh those pros and cons, right? Make sure the numbers still work, even with those higher rates.
Absolutely. You got to factor those interest payments into your overall project costs to make sure it's still a profitable venture.
Got it. Now, what about the loan terms? Like, how long do you typically have to repay a hard money loan?
Well, hard money loans are designed for short-term projects, like those fix and flips. So the terms usually range from 6 months to 2 years.
Okay, so it's not like a 30-year mortgage on your house. It's all about fixing up the property and getting it back on the market quickly.
Right. The shorter terms kind of go hand in hand with those higher interest rates.
Yeah.
The lender wants to get their money back faster.
That makes sense. So let's say you found an amazing deal, crunched the numbers, and decided a hard money loan is the way to go. What's the next step? Like, how do you actually find a lender?
Networking is key. Start by reaching out to hard money lenders in your area.
So where do you find these lenders?
You can try real estate investor groups, online forums, or even get referrals from other investors who've used hard money before.
So it's all about building those connections, just like in any other part of the real estate business.
Exactly. And once you've got a few potential lenders on your list, shop around. Don't just jump at the first offer you get.
So just like when you're shopping for anything else, got to compare prices and terms.
Exactly. Look beyond just the interest rates. Pay attention to fees, loan-to-value ratios, and any other terms that could impact your bottom line.
So it's about being a smart borrower, doing your homework before you sign on the dotted line.
You got it. Now, when you're approaching a hard money lender, be prepared. Have a solid business plan outlining your project, your exit strategy, and your experience as an investor.
So don't just show up empty-handed. Come with a plan that shows you've thought this through.
Exactly. And highlight the strengths of your deal. If your property fits that 70% ARV rule we talked about earlier, make sure to emphasize that.
Show them that you found a solid investment that has a good chance of making money.
Right. You want to give the lender confidence that this project is a good bet for both of you.
Now, what about the whole underwriting process? Is it as long and complicated as it is with a traditional bank?
Actually, one of the great things about hard money loans is that the underwriting process is usually much faster. They don't have all the red tape that banks do.
So you can get approved quicker.
Exactly. Sometimes even within days, which can be a huge advantage when you're trying to move quickly on a deal.
Wow, that's impressive. But with all this speed and flexibility, are there any downsides to hard money loans? Like, are there any red flags investors should be aware of?
Yeah, there are definitely some misconceptions out there. Some people think hard money loans are risky or predatory. But the truth is, like any financial tool, they have both pros and cons. You just got to do your research and choose a reputable lender.
So it's not about avoiding hard money altogether. It's about using it wisely and making sure you understand the terms before you commit.
Exactly. With careful planning and the right lender, hard money can be a valuable tool for fix and flip investors.
Okay, that's good to know. Now let's talk about exit strategies, because with those shorter loan terms, you really got to have a plan, right?
Absolutely. Your exit strategy is crucial, perhaps even more so with a hard money loan, because you need to have a clear plan for how you're going to repay that loan. And usually that means selling the property quickly and for a profit.
So before you even apply for the loan, you got to know how you're going to get from buying the property to selling it and making money along the way.
Right. Know your target buyer, research comparable properties in the area, and have a realistic timeline for renovations and listing.
Minimize those surprises and maximize efficiency.
Exactly.
Now, with the market being a little crazy right now, what advice would you give to someone who's thinking about using a hard money loan for their fix and flip?
Do your homework. Understand the risks and the rewards. Make sure you're comfortable with the terms and that you've chosen a reputable lender. Hard money loans can be powerful, but they're not a magic solution.
So it's not a shortcut to success. It's a tool to be used strategically as part of a well-thought-out plan.
Right. And remember, the market is always changing, so stay informed, be flexible, and be prepared to adjust your approach as needed.
Great advice. Now in our final part, let's explore those market trends a little deeper and see how they're impacting fix and flip financing. Get ready for a wild ride. Okay, so we're back for the final part of our deep dive, and we're ready to tackle the big one, the current real estate market.
The ever-changing, unpredictable world of real estate.
You got it. Yeah. And, we've got to talk about it because it's no secret that things are a little, well, let's just say interesting out there right now.
Interesting is one word for it.
We've got interest rates climbing some areas, seeing those property values soften, and there's just this overall feeling of like, who knows what's going to happen next?
It's definitely a market that keeps you on your toes.
That's for sure. So for our investors out there who are maybe feeling a little unsure about how to navigate all of this, what advice can you give them?
Well, first things first, you got to stay informed. More than ever, it's crucial to really keep your finger on the pulse of the market. Track those interest rate movements, inventory levels, and especially shifts in buyer demand.
Especially in your target area, right?
Exactly. You got to become a bit of a market detective, gathering all the intel you can to guide your decisions.
So it's not just about finding a property and hoping for the best. You really got to understand what's happening in that specific market.
Right. The more you know about the market, the better equipped you'll be to make those smart strategic decisions.
Now, you mentioned being strategic, and I think that's key because with all this market fluctuation, you probably need to be ready to adapt your approach right.
Absolutely. Flexibility is your best friend in a dynamic market like this one.
Can you give us an example? Like, how would you adapt your strategy based on what the market is doing?
Sure. Let's say interest rates are higher than you'd like. Well, you might need to go back and reevaluate your ARV calculations. Make sure your project is still profitable with those higher borrowing costs.
So maybe you need to tighten up that renovation budget or maybe adjust your expectations for your profit margin.
Exactly. It's all about finding those creative solutions to make the deal work within the current market conditions.
So it's not about giving up. It's about being resourceful and finding a way to make it happen.
You got it. Now, even though the market is a little unpredictable right now, there are still opportunities out there.
I was just going to ask about that. You mentioned earlier that some investors actually see a softening market as a good thing. Can you explain why that is?
Sure. When property values start to dip, some investors get nervous and back away. But experienced fix and flip investors, they see it as a chance to snag some great deals.
Ah, so it's like a hidden opportunity that not everyone sees.
Exactly, because those lower property values mean you can potentially buy a property for a lower price, which could lead to a bigger profit margin down the line.
So when the market eventually rebounds, those who bought low are in a great position to make some serious money.
Right. It's all about taking that long-term view and not getting caught up in the short-term fluctuations.
So it's not just about the numbers, it's about having that vision and that patience.
Exactly. Now, real estate investing isn't just about the individual investor. It's also about building a strong team.
Yeah, you can't do it all alone.
Absolutely not. Having a reliable team can make a huge difference, especially with fix and flip projects.
So who are the key players on this dream team?
Well, you definitely need a skilled real estate agent, someone who really knows the local market inside and out.
Someone who can find you those hidden gems?
Exactly. And then you need a trustworthy contractor, someone who can deliver quality work within your budget and on schedule.
Because a good contractor can make or break your project right.
Absolutely. And of course, you need a knowledgeable attorney to make sure all the legal aspects of the transaction are handled correctly.
And let's not forget those hard money lenders we talked about earlier.
Right. Finding a good lender who understands your vision and is willing to work with you, especially in a market like this, is absolutely essential.
So it's about surrounding yourself with experts who can support you and guide you through the process.
You got it. Real estate investing is a team sport, and the strength of your team can really make a big impact on your success.
So true. Well, I think we've covered just about everything in this deep dive. We talked about those 3 powerful strategies for getting 100% financing on your fix and flip projects.
We explored the world of hard money loans and how to approach them strategically.
And we talked about the importance of staying informed, adapting to the market, and building a solid team.
Remember, knowledge is power in real estate investing. The more you learn, the more confident you'll become.
And remember, you don't have to do this alone. There are resources and experts out there who can help you every step of the way.
So take what you've learned from this deep dive, do your research, and most importantly, take action.
We hope you enjoyed this deep dive and that you feel empowered to tackle your next fix and flip project. Until next time, happy investing.
Thank you for tuning in to the Direct Lending Connection podcast, where knowledge meets opportunity and empowers your business journey. If you found value in today's episode, be sure to subscribe, rate, and leave a review on your preferred podcast platform. Your feedback fuels our commitment to bringing you more high-impact insights and actionable advice. For exclusive content and upcoming episodes, and to connect with our network of industry experts, visit directlendingconnection.com. Remember to subscribe here on YouTube and follow us on Facebook for the latest updates and bonus material. Until next time, stay proactive, stay informed, and keep building your path to financial excellence. The Direct Lending Connection podcast, your trusted partner in navigating the complex world of business finance. We'll see you in the next episode.